Come one, come all, and welcome to Tea Time with T-Cross.
What's up, guys? Welcome to another edition of Tea Time with T-Cross. Get right into it with my kratom here. So, alright. Let's get myself settled here. Alright. Mic sound good. Camera looks good. Alright. So, I've talked a bunch of shit about McDonald's. A bunch of shit. Fuck McDonald's in every sense of the word. I used to love eating McDonald's. Due to my recent beef with McDonald's, pun intended, I will never eat there again. I may be talked into getting a chocolate milkshake, but even that's pushing it. So, long time beef with McDonald's since I started doing Uber Eats full time. These fucking cocksuckers. There's been one store in my general area that has been the best. I don't want to say good, but has been the best, the most consistent with the least amount of wait times. And that's been the one closest to me, the one right up here in Middletown on Highway 35. Up until recently, and I'll tell you, when they fuck up, they go big. They go big or go home, and I can kind of respect that. But this was fucking out of control. So it was like, I had just started working. It was my first order of the day. So I recorded the podcast last Tuesday. I usually record it Wednesday nights. Wednesday night last week, I had plans. Couldn't record it Wednesday night, so I recorded it Tuesday night. This stuff always happens to me where I'll record the episode and then something will happen the next day and I have to wait a fucking week to talk about it. It always happens. So I go to McDonald's first thing in the morning. And I knew, and McDonald's, they always take a while, so I waited a minute to leave my house. I was at my house when I got the order. And just to make the timing better, make it easier when I get to the math part, I waited about 5 minutes before I left my house. Now, the way Uber works, I get the order the same time that the restaurant gets the order. So the idea is that by the time you either finish doing the ride that you're currently on and then get that it's ready or almost ready by the time you get there. So I wait 5 minutes. And then it's about a 7 or 8 minute drive there, but let's just say 10, just again for the math. So that 5 minute wait, 10 minutes to get there. It's now been 15 minutes since McDonald's got the order. I'm waiting, and I'm waiting. No, first, I get there. I give the guy my order number. And he says, all right, it's going to be a minute. Now, to me, when a guy says it's going to be a minute, that usually means 5, maybe 10 minutes. So I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting. And I'm kind of being a bit of a jerk-off. Kind of, maybe a little bit. I didn't say anything, but around the 20-minute mark of me waiting around, I start huffing and puffing loud to make myself heard. And then the manager says to me, like, you all right? And I go, yeah, you got an ETA on this order? And he goes, yeah, man, it's a $90 order. And I said, hey, man, I don't care how much food it is. It's McDonald's. It's supposed to be fast. I've been here 20 minutes. And he's like, yeah, bullshit, you've been here 20 minutes. You're just being impatient. And I'm like, I have a timer going on my phone. I've been here 20 minutes. And no lie, the manager at McDonald's said to me, if you don't want to wait, then get the fuck out of my store. And I said, bro, I'm not getting paid while I'm sitting here. What the fuck is taking so long? And he goes, what do you not get about it's a $90 order? I go, bro, what? I don't care how much fucking food it is. It's McDonald's. It shouldn't take 20 minutes. The guy goes, yeah, well, they wanted me to put each different order into an individual bag. And I'm like, it takes that much longer to put it in a separate bag? I mean, Jesus Christ. He goes, if I didn't have to put it in different bags, it'd be done already. I go, okay. Well, just hurry the fuck up. I mean, this is ridiculous. And he goes, man, stop talking shit. Get the fuck out of my store. And I was like, just finish up the fucking order so I can finish my order and fucking get paid. And then he starts mumbling under his breath as if I can't hear him. There's nobody else in the fucking place. By the time it was done, I waited inside McDonald's 35 minutes. That was once I got there. Plus I waited 5 minutes and then a 10-minute drive. 35 plus 10 plus 5, that's 50 minutes for this order to be ready. 50 minutes for a McDonald's order to get ready. You know how many bags this guy gave me? 6. It would have been done already if I didn't have to put it in separate bags. He told me that at the 20-minute mark. It took 15 more minutes to make 6 bags. I mean, come on. Give me a fucking break. I mean, and I understand people having a bad day and wanting to take it out on customers. I've worked retail. I get it. But I wasn't being that much of a dickhead. I wasn't like, yo, what the fuck? I was like, hey, man, you got an ETA on this thing? Yo, man, if you don't like the wait, get the fuck out of my store. Most people in a situation like that would be like, yo, dude, I'm really sorry. You know, we're understaffed here. I'm going as fast as I can. Please stay patient. And I understand it's tough to do that sometimes, but I mean, telling someone to get the fuck out of the store because you have to understand why I'm frustrated that I'm waiting 20 minutes inside a fucking McDonald's. You have to be. There's no way that you can't understand why that's frustrating for me. So then I write about it on Facebook, and my sister takes it upon herself to call McDonald's. And now, mind you, she's calling the store. It was the fucking manager of the store. You're just going to be complaining to the guy that did it. So, I mean, what the fuck are you going to get accomplished? So she calls, and his name's Calvin. So, Calvin, if you're listening or watching, fuck off. Fuck all the way off. As far off as you can fuck off even more. So this fucking guy admits to my sister that he cursed me out, but tells her it was my fault. I was being impatient, and that he didn't tell me to get the fuck out of the store, and that there's no way that it was 35 minutes. Now, again, I keep a timer on my phone whenever I get to a store, and the only stores that I usually start the timer on is McDonald's, because 98% of other stores, the shit's ready when I get there. So by the end of that day, last Wednesday, I worked 8 hours. I was online for 8 hours. I spent 2 hours and 4 minutes waiting for food that day. All 2 hours and 4 minutes were inside various different McDonald's locations. That is 1/4 of my day. 25% of my day I was waiting, not getting paid. And honestly, I could have canceled a lot of the orders because I've been accepting so many orders lately that my percentage is good where I can cancel orders. But after the beginning of the day where it was 35 minutes, I wanted to see how much can I wait today? How much will people make me wait today? The first one was 35 minutes. Let's see how much I can wait today. And I waited over 2 hours in an 8-hour period for fucking McDonald's. So he claims that I was being impatient and that there was no way it took that long. I promise you it did, Calvin. And so then he hung up on my sister. And then she called back. And he answered the phone and then just put the phone down. So that he wasn't speaking. Christina wasn't speaking to anybody. She was just hearing, the noises of McDonald's go on. So she called corporate. And she was supposed to have like a meeting with the owners association or something about this fucking guy. And I'm not usually one for having someone lose their job, but Calvin's a cocksucker. And I haven't gone back to that McDonald's yet, not because I'm afraid, but I haven't gotten any requests to go there. I will fucking walk right through there. And I'm going to be completely honest. The reason I didn't put that guy through the glass is because I've been going to therapy. Like, I've been a lot calmer during the week. And also sparring. I got back to sparring on Sundays, and the sparring has been picked up. Like, I've been going back to sparring for quite a few weeks now. But last Sunday, the sparring was through the fucking roof. Everybody was going hard. I got my fucking ass kicked. There was a guy that came in that was doing just boxing. He's a really good boxer. So I did, I think, 3 rounds with him. And he beat the shit out of me. And I tried to return it. I landed a couple good shots. But, I mean, if that was a 3-round fight, I lost 30-27 with maybe a 10-8 there. I mean, he kicked the shit out of me. My head was hurting until Wednesday. It was awesome. I loved every second of it. And that's the way Sundays used to be. And I hope they get back to that once all the fighters start coming back into the gym now. But anyway, so that, like, I got all my anger out. That guy talking to me that way normally wouldn't have gone by as smoothly as it did. But anyway, more Uber. Today, I go to an apartment complex to deliver food in Mattawan. I forget what. It wasn't McDonald's, but... So it's one of these big apartment complexes that, you know, doesn't have, like, square roads, so the buildings are easy to find. Like, there's a circle around this building, and then there's a circle around this building, and then there's a couple straightaways. It's a really confusing fucking, none of it's in order. It's insane. So I'm driving around. I go exactly where the GPS took me. The GPS never takes you to where you're going in a fucking, in an apartment complex. So I get a message from the person I'm delivering to, and it says, "Hey, our building is by the laundry room, apartment number whatever." I don't live in your apartment complex. I don't know where the fucking laundry room is. I mean, come on. So then I tell them, I said, "I don't know where that is." And you know what their response to me was? "Just follow the road. It's a small building in the middle of the complex." Just follow the road? That's your directions? I mean, Jesus Christ. These people are fucking unreal. Unreal. So I always talk shit about customers and restaurants and stuff at Uber, but I never admit my own faults. And I'm going to be honest, there's like, this isn't being, I don't make many. It's not a difficult job. It can be difficult when people give you directions like follow the road. But so I often get double rides where they will send me 2 rides at the same time, usually from the same store or same restaurant, but sometimes it'll be from 2 places that are close to another, and then they're delivering to places close to another. So last week I got 2 orders, different restaurants, which you would think would make it easier because the packaging is usually different. Like, they have like their logo on the bag. It was nighttime. I goofed. So house number 1 got 1 bag of food. House number 2 got 2 bags of food. So I get to house number 1. I drop off 1 bag, but I gave them one of the bags from house number 2. So now I get to house number 2. I go into the back seat of my car, and I realize I gave 1 bag to the previous person. So I go back to the first house. And then I get a message from house number 2. "What happened to my food? You were just here." And then I tell him, I delivered your food to the previous house. I'm going to go fix it. I'll be right back. So he says, "Okay, no problem." I get to the first house. I knock on the door. And the woman, like, opens it a crack and, like, has her mask on. And, I don't know, I had mine on just because, she told me to leave it at the door, which usually is because people are freaked out about the virus thing, whatever. So she goes, "I don't want it. I already got a refund. I don't want it." So I said, "I accidentally gave my second order to you. I got to the second house, realized that I didn't give you your food. They didn't touch it. It's been in my car the whole time. And since you got a refund, you kind of get your dinner for free here." And she goes, "Okay." So I give it to her. And then I said, "Hey, do you have the food that I gave you before so that I can give, house number 2 the correct order?" And she goes, "Yeah, hold on." So she brings me back a plastic bag. I thought it wasn't the plastic bag that I originally delivered it in, but I thought nothing of it. I thought, she opened it, realized that it was not the right food, put it aside, and then when I asked for it, she had a different bag to give to me. So I get back in my car, I start driving to the second house, and I realize something in my head said, you should check this food. I go into the plastic bag. The food was eaten. It was half eaten. And the restaurants were not similar. House number 2 was getting Greek food, and house number 1 was getting Italian food. So I accidentally delivered Greek food to a person that ordered Italian food, and they ate it. Now, it was my fault that I fucked up. I gave the wrong person the wrong thing. It was dark out. I wasn't paying closer attention to the bags. Whatever. I asked for the food back, and this woman did not tell me I already ate it. She closed up the open containers, put it that she already started eating out of, and put it in a plastic bag and gave it back to me. Now, what if I didn't check that food and I gave it to house number 2? I mean, now I definitely fucked up, but what the fuck is that? How did she think that was an okay move? I already ate this food. Let me give it back to you so you can give it to the person that ordered it. So when I got back to house number 2, they also told me to leave it at the door. So I just left the bag that wasn't eaten. And they never called me. I don't know if they got a refund. I don't know what happened. I got paid for both orders. I fucked up. I've done about 4,000 deliveries in the last year. I'm almost positive that was the only time I've ever done that. So I got a pretty good success rate. I haven't gotten an email from Uber that I fucked up, which they usually do. No, I've gotten, I think, 3 emails over the past year that I didn't deliver food. That I, failed to deliver the food properly. And I guarantee what happened was somebody gave me shit directions to their apartment. I called them. They didn't answer. I left it at the front door of a building, sent them a picture of it, told them where it was because they wouldn't answer me, and then they just never went and got it because they're idiots. But I done goofed. I hope I don't get fired over it. As much as I talk shit about Uber, it is a pretty fucking awesome job. I work my own hours. I can start and stop whenever I want. I'm pursuing other dreams, other avenues such as the podcast. I have time at night. I can stay up late to edit these things, to get them online, to write other sketches that I have planned coming up. And then, I can stay up late and then just start Ubering later on in the day. Next week, I start my training to start umpiring here locally. So that's another great way to make money over the summer. And when I'm not umpiring, I can Uber. And hopefully next January, come minor league baseball time, I can get involved in that minor league program that I talked about a few weeks ago. But if not, I like Uber. I like umpiring. I like baseball. I know baseball better than any other sport. So yeah, so I would like to do that. Once amateur sports start coming back, I want to start doing the reffing and the judging of fights and whatnot, because I am certified to do that. I got certified right before COVID hit, so it was bad timing. So I'd like to get involved in that so that I can eventually do it at the professional level, and then, eventually umpiring. 9 to 5s and that kind of shit's not for me. I want to be involved in sports. Sports is my life. I've loved sports my whole life. It's something that I want to get involved in, and Uber gives me the free time and the flexibility to be able to pursue that shit. So that's what I'm going for. Getting a late start here. I'm 27. I'll be 28 this year. But, better late than never to accomplish, to not settle for something that you don't love to do. So that's what I'm going after. speaking of something I love to do, anal sex. So here's what we're getting at here. This is a great story. So, there's this thing called rosebudding. And what that is when people in porn, I mean, I guess in real life, but I found it through porn, is people prolapse their asshole. So they essentially turn their asshole inside out. It's really fucking gross. There's no other way to put it. But I had known about it, but I watched a live podcast, one of the Your Mom's House live podcasts, and they showed this porno where there were these two fellas side by side, assholes facing this way, and one guy here double like a fist in each guy's asshole, and then he would like I guess grab something and then pull their assholes inside out, and then they would turn this way and go prolapse to prolapse. Shit, I just hit the microphone. I gotta edit that audio out. Sorry. And then the guy was like stroking the prolapses on each other back and forth. This will all make sense eventually. So I showed that video to Karen. She was absolutely horrified, especially being a nurse. She's like, that is absolutely horrifying. And then she shared it with her sister, who is also a nurse. End of that part of the story. I will go back to that eventually. So one of the reasons I started therapy is, I really needed it. I've needed it for a while. But I still kind of have this thought of, I've gone to therapy before. It helped while I was going. But then I just eventually ended up back down in the darkness again. So why even bother paying to get out of the dark hole and, investing my money in myself when I'm just going to get back down there eventually anyway. That's the way I was looking at it. But I'm giving it another shot. It's definitely helping. I've only gone 2 sessions, but it's definitely helping. I really love the guy. Anyway, so before I started going, Karen made a deal with me. Because she was, pushing me like, you really got to go. You really got to go. Like, this is getting bad. You got to go. So she bribed me, essentially. And she said, how about this? If you go to therapy, we can do anal sex up to your first 15 sessions that you go. And when she offered that, she's not a fan of the butt stuff. She's not a fan. She puts up with it to make me happy, and I love her for it, but she is not a fan. So I said to her, 15, therapy is usually once a week. 15 weeks, that's like 3.5 months. You're going to be okay with the first quarter of the year getting it in the ass once a week? And she was like, whatever I need to do to help you out. Okay. Called the therapist the next day, or emailed him, I guess. So the first session happened, all good. Second session happened. She's prepping for it. I'm at work. She's, at home waiting for me to get home from work. And she's plugged up. Let me just put it that way. She's prepping for it. She gets She gets a text message from her sister, just the emoji of a rose, and then said, my last patient. So Karen is like, oh my God, no fucking way. So then she sends me the screenshot of the text, and I was like, I thought it was like, throwing a rose on like a dead body, like her last patient died and like she's quitting, she's done with, that's the way I interpret it. And she was like, no, her fucking last patient prolapsed her asshole. And I was like, oh my God. So then they were like talking about it. And then Karen was like, this is really bad timing because I'm prepping to have anal sex tonight. She said that to her sister, and her sister was like, what? Is that normal? And Karen was like, yeah, I've had a butt plug in for about 2 hours now, and now I'm terrified. So she says to me, like, if you prolapse my anus, I will never forgive you. Valid offer. I wouldn't forgive her if she did it to mine. But the night went on. All was well. We got the deed done. 2 for 2. Got 13 more to go. That was unbelievable. So this camera that I'm filming on, new camera, Mitch McConnell gave me my stimmy check, and I bought it with that. I'm waiting for my next check so I can get some lighting and a better microphone. Because the lighting in here is dog shit. Excuse me. So over the weekend, the band that I always talk about, Spirit Fox, my buddies from a long time ago, they had a show at the Chubby Pickle locally here in Atlantic Highlands. And Mike Henningsen, another buddy that I've known for a long time, opened up the show with an acoustic set. So I was like, hey, I have this camera. It takes pictures. Let me fucking bring it. So I bring it. I'm taking pictures of Mike doing the opening set, and I noticed that his hand is real blurry. I'm like, what the fuck? Now, I took a photography class in high school. I'm not as good with pictures as I am with video because, I went to college for television production, so I'm better with videos and the editing and whatnot. Not to say that I'm great with it. It's been 5 years since I've gone to college, but, I still retain more information. So, I understand shutter speed and aperture and exposure and all that kind of shit. But I didn't know how to work it on the camera because I've only ever used it up to this point for video, and I had no clue how to change the settings. So I'm Googling. I felt like an asshole. I'm Googling while Mike is playing, trying to figure these things out so I can get some decent pictures of the guy. And oh, you got to increase the shutter speed. Obviously, that makes sense. Increase the shutter speed. Take pictures black, super dark, because the exposure wasn't up and wasn't allowing enough light to get through the shutter the shutter speed. So I was like, okay, that's cool. So I figured it out, got a couple good ones. By the time I figured it out, he was done. He only played for a half hour or so, maybe 45 minutes. So by the time I figured it out, I was able to get a couple. But dumbass me didn't bring a second battery. And the one that was in the camera was half dead. So I didn't have too much battery life. So I wasn't taking too much. So then Spirit Fox goes on, Mike, Tim, and Brandon. And now they put the lights on. So now there's red lights coming down and fucking blue lights and purple lights. And I'm trying to take, and they're coming out horrible. Or at least I thought they were horrible. I posted them on Facebook. I did edit some of them on my phone because, you can fuck with the warmth and the saturation and the exposure and whatnot on the phone. So I was doing that a little bit with some of them. But I put them on Facebook, and everybody's, even, Dutton said, I love them. They posted them on the band page. So that was cool. But I'm a perfectionist, so I'm looking at them these, with the red lights, they're so oversaturated. And Mike's brother was there taking pictures as well. And he said that his were coming out great. I didn't see too many of his. But some of the red lights looked horrible. So I'm like, fuck. I just figured out how to take the pictures, and they turned these fucking red lights on and it fucked everything up. But anyway, it was a super fun show. They have an album coming out. Follow them on Instagram and Facebook at Spirit Fox Band. They will be on Spotify soon when their album comes out. Their album is out in Europe getting mixed and mastered right now. Super fucking excited about it. And unfortunately, their album will only have 8 songs. They've fucking got 40 of them. They're all fucking excellent. They're so goddamn good. Can't wait for the album. Can't wait for the next album. Super excited. Sports. Big week in sports was Super Bowl weekend. Tom Brady won a 7th Super Bowl. The most in NFL history at 43 years old, and I think this might be the most impressive yet. I would have to go back and look at the other ones, but it could be some recency bias involved. Motherfucker, in the first round of the playoffs. Now, I don't know exactly what year Tom Brady started, but he's 43. I'm going to say he's been playing 20 seasons or so, maybe even more. Probably more, because I think they said this is his 10th Super Bowl that he's made it to. So that is, he's made the Super Bowl 43% of the time, something like that. So maybe 21, 22 seasons, I don't know exactly, but that sounds about right. So I don't know when Drew Brees started. But the best quarterbacks of that generation, of when Brady came in, I would imagine him and Breeze started around the same time. Breeze maybe a little later. But the best quarterbacks of their generation that are still playing today are the two of them. They're probably the only two of that generation that are still playing. Took them out. Second round, took out the best of the generation after him, Aaron Rodgers. But not even the best, definitely the best of their generation, or of his generation. But he won the MVP this year. Fucking unbelievable year. I can't even explain what kind of year Aaron Rodgers had. Beat him. And then in the Super Bowl faces the next generation, the up-and-coming generation, fucking took out Mahomes. Now, I placed a straight-up bet on the Bucs to win just because Tom Brady is Tom fucking Brady. And, I thought the Super Bowl experience, he was going to come out on top, but I would never have guessed that they would have won by that much. I was thinking about taking the spread because the spread was 3 points. I thought it was going to be super close, but fuck, I did not think they were going to blow them out like that. And Mahomes didn't throw any touchdown passes, not one. That was probably the most surprising part about it. But the best part of the Super Bowl in my eyes was this fucking genius that ran on the field. Now, what a great ass that guy has. No homo, full homo, who gives a fuck? That dude has a great ass. And if you look at that guy's ass and you say that, ooh, fuck you, great ass on that guy. Now, I heard a story about this guy. I don't know if it's true, but if it is, I got some fucking ideas. Now, I told my mom about this, and she looks at me and goes, don't get any ideas. I go, too late. I already got the ideas. Now, I don't know if this is illegal to do this. I think it is. I want to say it's not legal to bet on yourself. Not entirely positive. And not sure what repercussions come from running on the field. Like what kind of charges because you get arrested. I don't know what kind of charges you get dealt. But so this guy apparently placed a $50,000 bet that somebody would run on the field. And the odds were plus 750. So he put down $50,000 that somebody would run on the field, and then he ran on the field. And I think that's the part that's illegal. Betting on yourself to do something like that. I don't know. It sounds illegal. But anyway. So the payout was like $375,000. The payout plus the $50K that you put down, $425,000 he gets back out of that bet. And apparently his bail was $1,000. So he walks out with $424,000. I got some ideas. Who wouldn't hearing that story? I don't know how true it is. I don't know if it's illegal. Again, I don't know the repercussions. I think I saw that you get charged with trespassing. $1,000 bail. I don't know what comes after that. But if I got $400,000 from that bet, pay the half that I need to the government, and I got $200,000, I could have a fun fucking time with $200,000. We'll get 60 of it out of the way to student loans. Now I got 150. You know what? As I'm saying this out loud, it doesn't seem as worth it. I don't end up with as much money as I thought. Anyway, that guy had a great ass. It was the best part of the Super Bowl. Ruff and Rowdy happened this weekend. So for those of you that don't know what Ruff and Rowdy is, it's a boxing promotion held by Barstool Sports. They get a bunch of fat, out-of-shape idiots to fight each other, and they get three one-minute rounds to fight, and they're usually exhausted after the first round. Now, sometimes they do get guys that look like they have taken a boxing class or two that have some level of talent, but very rarely. And I honestly want to know because these guys get paid. I would love to know what these guys get paid because I would like to participate. And also, if you participate in Ruff and Rowdy, are you now technically a professional athlete and now you cannot go back and compete in amateur sports? That's another thing I'd like to know, because if that's the case, then I'm good, because then I can never fight again, because have no interest in fighting without gear, because, even though I'm a fighter, I'm a fucking pussy. I do not want to go full-on shin-to-shin contact. I do not want to be kicked by somebody without a shin guard on. I'm good on that, especially if I'm not getting paid. These fucking amateur Muay Thai fighters, and I got a bunch of them in my gym, that fight without shin guards. I mean, they wear elbow guards, but no headgear. And the only money they make is off the ticket sales. Fuck every part of that. No thanks. If I am going to fight without shin guards and possibly go shin to shin or get kicked by somebody with the shin to forehead, I'm good. I want a signed contract that I will get paid a couple $1,000 at least. Fuck that. I'll fight somebody with no shin guards out in public, because those people don't know how to fucking fight. But against another trained killer, I'm good. Y'all are you're another level of crazy. I'm looking at you, Nicole. I'm looking at you, Malcolm. Crazy. So anyway, the headline of Ruff and Rowdy was Jose Canseco. Yes, that Jose Canseco, roided out freak, Mr. 40-40, that used to play Major League Baseball. And I think he had a couple MMA fights, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, some Ruff and Rowdy, maybe it's not sanctioned, but because if you fight professionally, you cannot go back and fight. You cannot go back and fight amateur. So if he had professional MMA fights, unless that's, again, it's not, unless it's not sanctioned. I have no idea. Maybe it's not. Yeah, he had a professional MMA fight for the organization Dream back in May of 2009. And he got knocked out a minute and 17 in by Hong Man Choi. Interesting. Anyway, so Jose Canseco goes in there, fights an intern for Barstool. Guy from Barstool kind of half landed a punch, and Jose went down and claimed that his shoulder was torn and he couldn't fight. It was like 8 seconds into the fight. Now, mind you, the pay-per-view is not expensive. It's like a $20 pay-per-view, no big deal. And I didn't realize that the streaming site had it, so I didn't have to pay for it. And Dave Portnoy's not going after streamers like Dana White is. Fuck. Anyway, so then they interview him after the fight, and they're like, what happened? He goes, I hurt my shoulder. They're like, when did you realize your shoulder was hurt? He goes, like 3 or 4 months ago. And they're like, wait, what? He goes, yeah, I tore it like 4 months ago. They're like, well, then why did you agree to fight? He's like, I don't know. I thought I could make it through, and clearly I couldn't. So he clearly fucking took a dive, made fucking $1 million. He got Dave Portnoy, I guess, offered him $1 million to show, and then another $1 million if he wins. He thought that would like incentivize him to actually go in there and actually fight, and he took a fucking dive. And he's claiming that he didn't, and that he was actually hurt. But he knew he was hurt, and he went out there and got $1 million to fucking headline a show with a bunch of fucking dopes. Pissed me off. There was a lot of hilarious fights on the card. Worth $20. There was 20 fights on the card. A couple crazy knockouts. And then Jose Canseco shit the bed. What a fucking asshole. But speaking of celebrities, now it is apparently official that Aaron Carter, the guy that sings, That's How I Beat Shaq, is going to box Lamar Odom. Now, I don't know how big Aaron Carter is, but Lamar Odom is fucking huge. And I've seen videos of Aaron Carter boxing. They're as bad as you think. And, they're holding the show in Atlantic City. I might go. I love Atlantic City. Jake Paul and Logan Paul really ruined boxing for everybody. Fuck. I would just want to get an opportunity to fight one of these fucking idiot celebrities that are claiming they can box. Now, if that's something that I could do, that I will fight professional rules and then, not give a fuck about. If I can make enough money boxing one of these fucking dopes like Aaron Carter or fucking Jose Canseco. And then the same night as Barstool, the Ruff and Rowdy, there was bare knuckle boxing. And I caught the last two fights because I forgot about it until I went on Instagram after the Ruff and Rowdy. And Chris Lieben fought, and he had his final fight, so he claims. He should have stopped fighting a long time ago, but he was really successful in bare knuckle. Let's see. Chris Lieben. I want to say he had like 3 or so bare knuckle fights, and he did great. I'm pretty sure he was 3-0. So his last MMA fight was December 28th, 2013. He lost to Uriah Hall, losing his 4th in a row. So he had 4 bare knuckle fights. He won his first 2, then he lost by knockout, and then he lost a decision, and then he won the last one. So I guess he wanted to go out on a win. So he retired from MMA 2013, and then fought 5 years later against Phil Baroni in his bare knuckle debut. So, I mean, hats off to him, doing what he loves, making some fucking bank, knocking some dope the fuck out with his bare knuckles. Good on you. It's weird seeing older retired fighters doing bare knuckle. I always watch it because it's fucking nuts. But it's sketchy. It's always sketchy when I watch those things. I don't love watching the bare knuckle, especially when it's guys like Chris Lieben and guys like Kendall Grove and Phil Baroni, guys that should not be taking headshots anymore, doing it bare knuckle. Now, you can argue that bare knuckle isn't as bad for the brain because people don't usually hit as hard because they don't want to hurt their hands. That's the argument that used to be made about MMA gloves, is that they're not used to protect the person getting hit. They are to protect the hands of the person throwing the punch, because now you can throw a lot harder. So there's been that argument made a lot before, but it's just visibly and aesthetically, it's really, really bad to watch. But it is what it is. Their life, not mine, and I watch anyway. And then Paige VanZant fought in the main event and lost. Lost a boxing fight. And then the woman that beat her in the post-fight press... It was the weirdest post-fight press conference of all time. She said, like, I'm not a person, I am a feeling. And all of you are going to feel this feeling. It was really fucking strange. Look up Paige VanZant bare knuckle post-fight speech or post-fight interview. It was really fucking weird. But, I mean, she just beat Paige VanZant. I mean, look, Paige is not all that talented as a fighter. I mean, she's young, she's hot as fuck, and she's popular. She had a couple great performances in MMA. She was definitely thrown to the wolves real early. And I met her and her husband at a Bellator event one time. And I felt really bad because they were like walking towards the exit, like a side exit, and I noticed her. So I didn't yell at the top of my lungs, but I ran over. I was like, hey, Paige, can I get a picture? And I got a picture, and then, I asked Austin to come in too and took a picture. And then I guess somebody noticed that I was taking a picture, and then the whole fucking crowd ran over, and I felt kind of bad, but I got a picture with Paige VanZant. And apparently she made like an OnlyFans page, but everybody's saying it's not worth it. Why can I not find her fucking Wikipedia page? There we go. So how old is she? She's 26. She's younger than I am. She'll be 27 March 26th. So yeah, she got thrown to the fucking wolves. She comes into MMA and within a year of her MMA debut, she's fighting Tisha Torres. And then she comes into the UFC, and she had some good wins over tough competition. You know, she fought Kaylin Curran, she beat Felice Herrig, she beat Alex Chambers. But then she fought, Rose and Michelle Watterson and Jessica Rose Clark and Amanda Reba. Like, she fought some really tough competition. And she's only been training, I guess, wow, her first fight was 2012, so that's like 9 years ago. Holy shit. All right, so yeah, she's been doing it for a while. She's got other ventures. She did Dancing with the Stars. She does some modeling stuff. She's got her fucking Instagram following, and she's doing just fine in life. There's no place to be discrediting her at all. So shouts out to her. She's getting paid apparently $400,000 a fight in bare knuckle. Sign me the fuck up. And then we go to the UFC event that happened this weekend. Overeem lost, which made me sad. I'm not a huge fan of Volkov. I don't hate the guy. Just, I'm kind of indifferent about him. But I wanted Overeem to win because I think if Overeem won, he probably would have gotten, I don't know, maybe not, because the heavyweight division is kind of tied up with, Francis fighting Stipe, and then apparently the winner is fighting John Jones. So even the next contenders, they're all still kind of waiting. So if we look at the heavyweight division, because the top of the division, now Volkov has to be up there in the top of the division. Curtis Blades has to be up there. Speaking of Curtis Blades, what the fuck is going on with him and Derrick Lewis? Because that got moved, but I don't know if it got what card it got moved to. So let's see. Curtis, I'm all over the place. Curtis Blades versus Derrick Lewis. When did that get moved to? It got moved to next Saturday. So this Saturday is the pay-per-view. The following Saturday is Blades versus Lewis. Okay, so they're at the top. And then we got Rosenstrike, who is fighting number 7 Cyril Gane. But, we got Ngannou versus Stipe coming up. And then the winner of that fights Jones. And then who the fuck is next? Because even if Curtis Blades or Derrick Lewis win, even if Rosenstrike and Cyril Gane win, whoever wins those fights is definitely in line for a title shot, as is Volkov now. So that's 3 guys all ready to take a title shot who are now way behind because Jones is next. So they're going to have to fight again. There's going to be some sort of round robin between the 3 of them. The winner of Blades Lewis, the winner of Rosenstrike, Gane, and Volkov. Volkov is going to have to fight one of those winners, and then the winner of that fight's going to fight after. It's the heavyweight division is all fucked up. Fuck you, John Jones, you fucking scumbag. You fucking slimeball piece of shit. Ugh, fucking hate John Jones. Anyway, this weekend. So I was out at the bar on Saturday for my friend's band. So I didn't get to watch too much of the fights. I was kind of watching it on the phone, but I was also Googling to figure out this fucking camera setting so I can, get better pictures. But Beneil Dariush won against Diego Ferreira, which apparently that's the second time they've fought. And he had already beaten him. That's 6 in a row now for Dariush. Yeah, they fought October 2014. So like 6.5 years ago. So Dariush afterwards was like, I'm tired of it. I'm tired of everybody considering me a high risk fight, but no reward because I'm not a big name. I've been here for years. Like, this is bullshit. And then he put one of his teammates over. He's like, I got the best 125 in the world. Just give him a chance. I know he's a little older, but give him a chance. Dariush is the man. He is the man. Great fight. Split decision. From what I saw, at least on the phone, I thought he won 2 out of 3. And then Pantoja beat the newcomer in the flyweight division. Pantoja, I don't know what he's ranked, but I don't know all that much about the flyweight division other than Brandon Moreno and Figueiredo. Yeah, Figueiredo. And then we got Benavidez, who's probably not going to get another shot. Askar Askarov. I've seen that name when I look this up all the time. I couldn't tell you one guy he's fought. I have no fucking idea who that is. So, and then Alex Perez, who I think just fought for the title, right? And he got choked out by Figueiredo 2 weeks before he fought Moreno. So Pantoja is probably next in line, unless he's got to fight this Askar Askarov guy. I have no fucking idea who that is. Askarov. I don't think I've even seen that fucking guy. Oh shit, he's undefeated. So he had a split draw against Brandon Moreno, and then he beat Tim Elliott and Pantoja. So I guess he would probably be next then. Because they already talked about doing the rematch with Moreno and Figueiredo, but that talk kind of died down. So I don't fucking know what's going on with that. This Askarov guy might even slip in there because the talk of Moreno has completely died down, and that is entirely Moreno's fault. Moreno has to keep that talk going. That's fully on him to get that title fight. And then Clay Guida beat Michael Johnson, which sucks because last week I claimed that Michael Johnson, when he shows up, is one of the best lightweights of all time. I stand by that, but he's definitely not what he used to be. That's 4 in a row, and he's not losing to great competition. Not that Clay Guida is not great or a legend or anything, but he's not superstar. He's older. Thiago Moises, couldn't even tell you who that is. Stevie Ray, Josh Emmett, big name. But, his last, 4, 7, 8, 9. He's lost 9 of his last 12. But, I mean, he fights the cream of the crop before his recent skid. So he fought, I'm going to give you these, starting in 2013. He beat Joe Lozon, Gleison Tebow, Melvin Gillard, Edson Barbosa. Then he lost a split decision to Beneil Dariush. Then he lost to Nate Diaz, beat Dustin Poirier. Then he fought Khabib and Gaethje, lost to both of them. Then he lost to Darren Elkins. But let's be honest, he beat the fuck out of Darren Elkins, and Darren Elkins came back. And then he beat Andre Fili, and then he beat the GOAT Artem Lobov. I mean, he's one of the greatest fighters in the lightweight division that's ever existed. But I think he might be done. But he's also super young, right? Yeah, he's only 34. Yeah, he's not that old. And then, knockout of the year candidate right off the bat to start the year, only February, Corey Sandhagen knocks out Frankie Edgar, flying knee 28 seconds into the fight. Yikes. I don't know what's next for Frankie Edgar here. I mean, his last 4 years haven't been fantastic. He's had some good performances. I'd even say some great performances. But again, he's one of the guys where you can't be throwing him in against an unranked guy because he's going to fucking hurt somebody. So he's got to fight the top competition. And he's also a big name, legend, former lightweight champion, now fighting at bantamweight. I mean, his last 5 years, I mean, look at these names he's fighting over since 2013. Charles Oliveira, BJ Penn, Cub Swanson, Uriah Faber, Chad Mendez, Jose Aldo, Jeremy Rodriguez, Yair Rodriguez, or Jeremy Stevens, Yair Rodriguez, Brian Ortega, Cub Swanson, Max Holloway, Chen Sung Jung, Pedro Munoz, Corey Sandhagen. I mean, he is fighting the cream of the crop in 3 different divisions over the last, 7 years. Fucking crazy. Absolutely crazy. But what's next? I don't know what's next. I don't know who is at bantamweight that he can fight. I loved the idea of prime Frankie against a prime Dominic Cruz or a prime TJ Dillashaw. I think Frankie is too far past his prime. But if we're looking at the bantamweight division, I like Frankie Edgar versus maybe Cody Stamann. Because Cody's fight just fell through with somebody for some reason. I don't know the exact reason. But stylistically, I like that fight. I hate seeing that happen to Frankie Edgar. Hate it. But then Volkov had a great performance. Absolute masterclass performance against Overeem. So he's won 3 of his last 4, one of which against Greg Hardy. Amen. And then he got knocked out by Derrick Lewis, but he beat the fuck out of Derrick Lewis until, the last 10 seconds of the fight. I know the feeling, Volkov. And then before that, won 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in a row, including Verdum, former heavyweight champ. Heavyweight's a fucking absolute disaster. But then let's go into the pay-per-view next week. We got a good main card, at least. First fight of the night, Jillian Robertson, who is, I forget the exact category, but she is either number 1 or tied with Ronda Rousey for most finishes as a female in the UFC. I think she's tied because her last fight she was going for the record and then she got her ass whooped. So I hope she gets that record. I love her. She's so much fun to watch. I love her grappling. She's excellent. And then we got Ricky Simone versus Brian Kelleher on the undercard, the early prelims. That's going to be a banger. I love those guys. Kelleher knocks dudes the fuck out. Simone's a wrestler type, but he's not afraid to stand and bang. Oh, excuse me. And then just move to the top 3 cards. We got the top 3 fights. Kelvin Gastelum is fighting Ian Heinisch. I love that fight. I love Kelvin Gastelum. I love Ian Heinisch. Middleweight's gonna bang. Love it. Cannot wait to see it. And then for some reason they got Macy Barber versus Alexa Grasso ahead of them, which is strange to me, but I'm not Dana White. Not too interested in that fight. But then main fight, Kamaru Usman versus Gilbert Burns. We saw Daniel Cormier talking about this fight this week on the Ariel Helwani show. And what he said was, those guys know who's going to win. I knew that if I were to go up to heavyweight and fight Cain Velasquez, I would lose. When Rashad Evans went to fight John Jones, he knew that he couldn't win. One of these 2 guys, because they were former teammates, they've sparred hundreds of rounds. These 2 guys know who's better and who's going to win. And I'm excited to see who. It's hard for me to go against Usman, but Burns is a fucking slick motherfucker on the ground. And Usman, Burns got good hands too. It's hard for me to think in any one part of mixed martial arts that Usman is better than Burns. Like, if it was a strict striking fight, I think Burns is a better striker. I think Burns is a better grappler. But Usman's just so fucking good. He is so fucking good. I'm picking Usman. Unfortunately, he annoys the shit out of me. I couldn't even tell you why. He just rubs me the wrong way. But watching him beat the fuck out of Colby Covington was awesome. But also watching Colby Covington beat the shit out of him was also awesome. And I'd like to see them run it back. And I'd like to see him run it back with Masvidal. Because Masvidal, when he speaks about, I saw enough of him in the first fight with him that if I got a full training camp, I know what I need to do to beat him. When he says that, I believe him. I don't know why, but I believe him, and I want to see it. I don't think that's going to happen next, but a man can dream, can't he? I also want to see Khabib fight GSP. A man can dream. It's not going to happen, but let me dream. Yeah, that's all I got. Nothing too crazy this week. Short week. 1 battery on the camera. And we're closing in on an hour, so the battery's probably not going to last that much longer. So I'm just going to say dicks out for Harambe, and Epstein didn't kill himself.